breaking bad habits through language learning. And I hope that this video actually gives you some value because, at least to me, language learning actually helped me to break bad habits. And because it helped me to break bad habits, I got this body. I'm not going to be giving you anything about fitness, of course, but a result of my language learning was actually having this body because it helped me to breaking bad habits. And if you are a guy who is like 14 years old, 16, 15 years old, like, and has nothing to do with his life, of course you're going to feel interested because this is one of the easier things that you can do, an easier goal that you can have for you to improve your life. And if you actually want to learn a language, then that is something that is a plus. There's some things about habits that you need to understand. First, what it is a habit? Well, a habit is just an automatic behavior that is ingrained through repetition. Like whenever you go and brush your teeth, and whenever you go and shower, whenever these kind of things are actually always on the same time. Like you always brush your teeth on the same time, maybe, who knows? You always shower on the same time, maybe, you know, maybe you don't shower, probably. There are some things about habits that you need to understand, like the things that conform a habit, which the first is a cue. Well, what is a cue? Well, an internal or external trigger that sets off the habitual behavior. For example, whenever you go to shower, you know that when you go to shower, you need to brush your teeth before it, you know? Well, then, that is an internal behavior. The internal trigger is you thinking of showering. If you think of shower, you don't say like, oh no, before I go to shower, I need to actually brush my teeth. Then there's the second thing, which is the routine, like what you do before you do the thing, which is uh, actually, for example, let's just say that you wake up, and whenever you wake up, you watch your phone. Well, the cue in this case is an internal cue, which is like you wake up and your brain automatically thinks that you need to watch the phone. That is the cue, an internal trigger. Then there is the reward. The reward. What you get for watching the phone, for example. What you get for watching the phone? Well, you get a love first thing on the morning. You get dopamine. So yeah, that is the reward. Then there's things like neural pathways, which I think that I'm not going to get that into because I don't know much about them. So yeah, how you learn habits? Well, you learn habits as you learn habits, like you learn languages. You learn languages with a method that is called comprehensive input. And what is comprehensive input? Well, it's how babies learn languages. But in the case of you need to learn languages as an intelligent baby. Well, how babies learn languages? They use art in a random environment, and in this random environment, there's a lot of people that is nearby the baby, right? Is they are near the baby, and they are saying random things, random words that the baby don't understand, and the baby actually from hearing the same word in the same specific context, he's always going to relate that word to that context, and so he's acquired that word. Like he acquired that word, he learned that word. You know. So how does the baby learn languages? Well, he learns languages through repetition. Like you can say that a habit actually. He learns languages through repetition in the same specific context. He always watches the same set of words or the same word in the same specific context, and that's it. That's comprehensive input. But what actually you should do to learn languages? Well, you should learn languages as an intelligent one. Like what does an intelligent baby does? Well, he just learns languages through programs that are going to help uh, the baby actually learn the language. You know, like There's programs like Anki. There's programs like I don't know, maybe one that is going to help you to read better or things like that. He's actually going to apply techniques or things like that to his language learning, to his comprehensive input. You know, so yeah, there's replacing bad habits with language learning, like the benefits of it. Well, there's cognitive benefits, of course, which I think that they are not that important because you are not going to notice them that much. For example, in there's some cognitive benefits which are going to improve your memory, attention, and problem solving skills. You are not going to notice them that much, but you know that after 2 years or 3 years of learning the language, you actually have a better memory. Like you can notice that you can memorize things faster, you can pay attention to things in a better way, and you can solve problems quicker in this case. Then there's the cultural immersion. When you immerse yourself in a whole language, you are immersing yourself in a whole new culture. That is something that you need to know. Like if you're going to learn a language to replace those bad habits, you need to actually like the language, because the big part of learning a language is its culture. And if you don't like the culture, then you're not going to actually like immersing yourself in the language, or you're not going to be able to do it like 5 hours a day. Then there's things like personal growth. Like it's going to boost your self-confidence, because actually you have achieved something as a 16 years old. You are the 16 years old who knows three languages, you know. So of course it's going to boost your self-confidence. Then it's going to enhance your communication skills. Why is going to enhance it? Well, it's going to enhance it because actually, if you are talking in another language to someone, it's going to be harder because it's not your natural tongue. So, by you talking to that same person, or well, to a person in your natural language, then it's going to be easier, because actually the conversation with the person in the other language was harder in this case. Then there's other things like broadening your horizons, which I'm not going to get into because you need to already know them if you want to learn a language. There's some practical steps that I think that you can incorporate into your daily routine, which I'm going to explain more specifically in another videos, which are: first, make it a habit. Like, why should you make it a habit? Well, if you do it like first thing on the morning, your first 2 hours on the morning before going to school, then it's going to be easier. Let's you say that you go to the school at 8 a.m. Well, why not you wake up? Why don't you wake up? I mean, uh, five a.m. on the morning. Sorry, you wake up at 5 a.m. and you study for 2 hours till 7, and then from 7 to 8 you just get ready to to go to school, and then you have 2 fucking hours of learning the language in your day there. Like, that's it. And when you return from school, you can actually watch series on the language or things like that are going to be more easier, because when you return from school, it's going to be actually kind of difficult to learn the language. So that's why you actually do it first thing on the morning before going to school, because when you return from school, it's not going to be uh, easy for you to actually learn the language. Then there's things like engaging resources. For example, if you're learning Japanese, watching anime is very fun. So if it's fun, you can do it for six hours a day, which is the thing that I actually do, and that's why I will achieve learning Japanese in 2 years. Like, that's something that that's some of my goal, which is, yeah. I'm not going to explain it to you, but I'm going to achieve learning Japanese in 2 years. You will know that if you go, if you know me in 2 years, or if you watch this video in the future, you will know that I have learned Japanese, or I am a Venezuelan guy who has learned Japanese in 2 years. Then there's celebrating your progress. I will not recommend you to celebrate your progress if you are a beginner in learning languages. Why? Because for you to notice when you have learned a new word or when you have advanced in the language is pretty difficult. It is even difficult for me, which it is even difficult for me now that I'm learning Japanese. And when I was learning English, it was actually difficult for me to notice when I have learned a new word. Actually, one of the things of language learning is that knowing when to celebrate progress is difficult, you know. So I will recommend you to just track the days in which you have studied. For example, let's just say that you have a paper. Okay, this paper, you are always going to put an star on this paper whenever you have achieved a day of studying the language, and that's the only thing that you will do. Like you achieve a day of studying the language, you put an star on it, and you will know that after 60 days, 90 days, a year of studying the language, you will have a whole lot of papers, and these papers you can put them on your wall, and that is like a trophy. That is something that you can get your that you can be pretty confident in, because you know that you have put in the hours and you have proof that you have put in the hours, you know. The fourth thing that I will tell you is to be realistically unrealistic. But if you're interested in all of this and like you want to learn a language and you're getting like hype to just break your bad habits and replace your bad habits with the language, just please go to the description and contact me there. Then the fourth thing is to be realistic and realistic. I tell you to be realistic and realistic, and for you to understand this, I think that I have to explain you an analogy. The analogy is going to be that let's just say that you want to talk to a girl, but there's two girls. There's the ugly girl and there's the beautiful girl. Well, you know that when you talk to ugly girls is actually easier and you feel like it is more achievable to talk to that ugly girl. But when you talk to the beautiful girl, it's it's difficult because she's beautiful, you know, and it's kind of intimidating in a way. So the thing with the ugly girl is that all of the guys, even handsome guys, very handsome and rich guys, think that the ugly girl is more achievable. So by them thinking that, then they are actually going to go and talk to the ugly girl. So the ugly girl actually becomes less achievable, because if it's less achievable, then it's like harder for you. You know, you always feel like ugly girls are less achievable like beautiful girls, or like the ugly girls are hard to date because they actually get approached by a lot of rich and handsome guys, because those handsome guys actually think the same as you because they are not confident. Then there's the beautiful girl. The beautiful girl don't get approached, doesn't even get approached like so often. The guys who actually go and approach that girl actually always are super scared, and they always notice that this beautiful girl is always more scared because nobody talks to the beautiful girl. So actually, by you approaching the girl, you actually will be that guy who has intimidated that beautiful girl, and by actually you doing that, you will date her because you were the only one who actually talk to that girl. I don't know if I've explained myself better, but the thing is that uh, realistic goals, you are going to achieve them probably, but realistic goals are actually more competitive, and if they are more competitive, you are not going to achieve them. Unrealistic goals are actually less competitive but more difficult. So you're going to actually reach unrealistic goals in a faster way. Well, right, unrealistic goals are unrealistic by the average person's perspective, you know. So by your perspective, it's not difficult actually. So yeah, I will tell you to actually set unrealistic goals. Let's just say that something realistic is learning Japanese in 6 years. Well, why not learn Japanese in 3 years? The average person maybe learns Japanese in 5 to 6 years by applying 1 hour to 2 hours a day. Well, you just put 5 hours a day. That's it, and you learn the language on 2 years. You just put 6 hours a day, and you learn language in 1 year and a half. You put 12 hours a day, and you and you learn the language in a year. Which there are already a lot of proofs about this, and yeah, you can actually know that that is something that happens. So yeah, if it happens for some other people, why not for you? So yeah, that is all of it, and I hope that this video actually gave you some value. Thank you.